So today's topic, so I also want to tell you, please subscribe, and that will help me to keep this going. This is going to be my last free live that I'm going to do. So my lives will be for my for paid subscriptions moving forward. But this is a really great live that I'm hosting today because I think it will help people in general to have the embodiment of sex, right? Of having the embodiment of sex. I'm just going to drink some water, and I just want to make sure you can see me on the screen, right? If someone would type something in the chat, that would be awesome. Just to let me know. Oh, Heart Unshackled, you've joined. Okay, great. Thank you so much. And John Douglas, I am just now seeing that. And Tink, I thank you for the yes. Awesome. All good from my end, John Douglas says. Awesome. So and Leon, nice hair. Thank you. Thank you for noticing. The time got close and I didn't have the opportunity to do my hair. So I really appreciate that because I don't normally wear my hair up in a bun. So thank you. All right. So this is a great live today. So I want to stress that you can watch this as many times as you want. This is going to be a lot of information that I'm going to give you today, and it may be 2 to 3 hours. I'm not really sure. So I just want to preface, like if you need to leave, go ahead, take care of yourself. This will be something that you can watch in the future, and watch it as many times as you need, because sometimes, and I say that because sometimes it takes me longer to process something that I'm learning, especially if there's a lot of emotion, or if it's a new topic for me, it might be something that I need more time to process, and that's okay. To take as much time as you need to embody these learnings, and also know that these are teachings that you can make and create on your own, right? So I'm giving you this embodiment framework, which is based off of a lot of hypnosis teachings, and that you can use, and you can apply what you like and you leave what you don't like. So that is a important rule that I like to express, is that you may like some of the stuff that I talk about, and some of this stuff you may not, and that's okay. And if you don't agree with it, then that's fine too. I do encourage, to always test things out and trust what your intuition is saying to you as your decision, right? Okay. So I like to preface that. And then I also need to, I'm kind of going in a loop here, but I also want to say that I do work one-on-one with people right now. And that is, you can do that if you email me at Samantha@thelanguageoforgasm.com. I'm going to type that in the chat so that you have my email, and you can do a screenshot of my email address, or you can copy and paste it. Also, if you know somebody that might benefit with working with me, you can give them my information and share my information to them. Hello, Kendall B. Whitting. Thank you for joining. So today's topic is the embodiment of hot sex. That is what I'm calling it. And you can, so what does that mean? That means to me showing up with presence in the bedroom. DJ T, thank you for joining. Great to have you here. So what does presence mean? It means you are focused on the other person and what they are doing and what they are not doing, versus, I'll give you an example of what presence is not, okay? And I think that can be easier to connect to sometimes for a lot of people in this topic about sex, because there's just a lack of education about sex in the world. So it's quite understandable to have a lot of things that are wrong going. And I don't mean to be insulting about that, but I have just been working with people for so long about this, and it comes into a lot of the disconnect that is going on. And Duncan the Sage, he pointed this out. It's people, a lot of people, they're just not present. So how do you get present? Because everyone talks about sex, the ultimate thing of being present. Being presence is so important. It is important, but how do you do it? Okay, so it's like, all right, we know that we want to be present. Okay, we know that maybe we're not being present, or we are thinking that we might not be present, or it seems like we're not being present. So what is not being present? So delete the wrong word, the word wrong. So what is not being present? Not being present is when you are making an assumption about the other person and what they're doing. There is a story in your head that is going on about yourself, like people don't like me, or people just want to have sex with me. They don't want a relationship with me, or all men or all women just want a man to buy her nice things, or this person doesn't care about me, or I just need to do what he wants, and then they will see that I'm doing what they want, and then they'll do nice things for me. So those are like some thoughts. And then thoughts of, oh, my body doesn't look very good. I think that's probably turning him off. So, or he didn't say anything right now when I touched him, so that means that he doesn't like me. Or she just doesn't like me because she's not kissing me. And I think that women who like me, they make a kiss, or they go and they make a kiss on me. Hi, Craig W. Thank you for joining. So in hypnosis, So why I like to bring in the hypnosis is because it gives a very nice structure and framework to sex. I like having a framework and structure in place because it gives clarity. And when you have clarity, hello, Mark3242 at yahoo.com. Thank you for joining. When you have clarity in your life, you're able to take action in your life easier. That is usually the byproduct, or you're able to understand something or learn the process easier when there is clarity. So that's why I like using the framework of hypnosis. Hypnosis gives a really beautiful, intimate framework for people to apply in their life for sex, because it is an intimacy skill that you are learning, and we can call it hypnosis. So in that skill, there's the thoughts, okay? And then there's the feelings that are always there. And then there's the action, right? So there's a lot of thoughts about sex because we hear stories from our friends or our partner or the movies or books or porn. And they create a lot of thoughts that come up in the mind, which in my opinion causes a lot of confusion. So that is going into the feelings, right? Because going back to the hypnosis framework, the thoughts, the feelings, and the actions. When we have confusion going on in our life around sex, that emotion, we may not say what we want to say. We may not do what we want to do. We may have silence. We may not express ourselves, hold signs farther back. Oh, from the camera, not seeing the, thank you so much. Okay, so thoughts. Thank you so much, Leon, for that. Feelings. And then actions. How about now? Was that good? With the signs, were you able to see them? So what I see on my screen and what you're seeing on your screen, they may be different. So that is so helpful for me to know. Were you able to see them? Thoughts, feelings. Leon, if you can type a response for me, that would be awesome. If not, that's okay. I'll assume you can. Or if anybody else wants to, that's great too. Missing the far right edges as you hold them. Missing the far, so like now, that's better. Hey, Jerry, thanks for joining. So you can see it now. I apologize. This is a learning experience for me about the video. Closer. Oh, okay. Closer to me. Okay, great. Thank you. So what is actually happening right now with what Leon is doing? This is really good information to apply as well to your sex life. By giving feedback like that, it's directional. So I just want to point that out. So we'll utilize what's happening right now in the way that Leon is giving me instructions, I am responding to what he's saying, and I'm not taking it personal. I'm just simply doing it because I want him to see what I am doing. And my goal, or not my intention, the screen went out on me. Okay. All right. My intention is, all right, can you see me? I'm so sorry for the video. Are you able to see me? The screen went out, dark or black on my end. If you can type something in the chat and just let me know. Yes, we can see you. Okay, great. Thank you, Heart Unshackled. Awesome. Super. Okay. So the thoughts, so with a lot of women, and I am making a generalization here, not all women, so I want to clarify that, they are being very passive about how they are approaching or expressing themselves in the bedroom, okay? Because they don't either know how to say something. Maybe get a webcam with a wide angle lens next time. Thank you so much for saying that. I will do my best. Okay, so the thoughts are in the mind of, I can't tell this person what I would like, is something that shows up in a lot of the minds of women. Because they want to spare their partner's feelings a lot of times. So they aren't necessarily honest with their lover on what they would like. Now, I do say to keep correction out of the bedroom and have a framework, a setup on how to do that. And I will go into more detail on that a little bit later and at another, on another live, because that's a whole different, that is an entirely different topic. So with this topic, I want to clarify, number one, this is for being in the bedroom. So you already have consent. You already are in the bedroom and you are wanting to be with the person that is in front of you without thinking too much or having a lot of thought or confusion or feelings of discomfort or frustration going on. So this is the embodiment of how to have hot sex. So I'm going over right now the thoughts that are usually in the way of this happening for men and women. Okay, so, and there is a judgment that is also going on in the thoughts and feelings a lot of times because because of the romantic movies, because of books, because of what your friends are doing with their love life. So could be comparison. But what ends up happening is the thoughts get in the way of really hot sex because you're no longer present and engaged with the person that you are with in front of you. So that is something that can happen with a lot of people when it comes to sex. And that is something to normalize. because there is a lot of confusion. Then there is a lot of overwhelm. I'm hoping that the pictures are visible now. And then there is a lot of frustration. Okay. So the confusion goes back to, I don't know what to say. And there's all these thoughts that go on in the mind about sex. So that is the confusion of just not knowing what to do and where to go. There is a lack of clarity, which is why I'm doing this live, so that there is more clarity and direction on what to do. Thanks for the thumbs up, Leon, on what to do for hot sex. The overwhelm occurs as well a lot of times because of all these different techniques. What do I do? Where do I go? What do I say? How do I move? How do I touch this person? What is happening? What is he doing? What am I doing? What am I wearing? Do I smell good enough? Does he like me? Do I like him? So, am I making the right sounds? Am I making enough sounds? What's happening in my body? What's happening? So that can be the overwhelm of sex. That's coming back to the thoughts. And then the frustration. A lot of times this person will experience frustration because the other person might not be doing kind of what they want, but they're not articulating it and they're not saying it clearly, or they're not learning what the other person, they're not learning it at the rate that the other person wants them to learn it. So, meaning maybe one person is extremely skilled and knows what to do sexually, but the other person doesn't, and they may need more time. They may need more time to learn or digest the process or understand what's happening, and the other person can then get frustrated, or both people can get frustrated because one person isn't going as fast as the other person. And that usually is because one person has already thought about the problem quite a bit, and the other person has not thought about the problem like at all, or they're like just getting into the awareness of how to do this, or they are needing more time to process their feelings or their emotions, so the frustration can come up. So the thoughts. Okay. Going back to the mistakes. So the mistakes are the assumptions. Okay, the assumptions that this person doesn't like this, or the assumptions that this person does like this, or the assumptions that this person is trying to do this to me, or the assumptions that this person is trying to take advantage of me, or the assumptions of this person doesn't care about me. And so going back to the mistakes, the rejection. So something doesn't get said, or something doesn't get articulated, or something doesn't get asked because of feeling potentially rejected, which is something that I teach on how to do constructive feedback so that the person is in a regulated state to receive the feedback of what you don't like, and then you can actually have a more meaningful relationship by scheduling and doing this proper framework to give them the rejection. And I'm not teaching that today, but I'm going back to the embodiment, but I want to highlight that that is very important. And that is part of the thought. So that's why I wanted to speak about that. Okay. So those are some of the feelings that are going on. There's the frustration, right? This person isn't doing what I want and they're not understanding. That can be frustrating. Overwhelm. Oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. This is extremely emotional for me right now. There's so many, like, do I do it this way? Do I do it that way? What do I do when I'm with this person in front of me? Okay. Hello, Dr. Vic 65. Thank you so much for joining. And then the confusion of, oh my gosh, you know, like, is my body okay? What do I do? How do I interact? I don't want to, you know, hurt this person, or I don't want to do too much, right? Like, what do I do? So that can create the confusion. So this is for the clarity, right? Okay, so that you have clarity on what to do for the embodiment to be with one person that is in front of you at this time. Or if it's a, you know, there's multiple people, you know, then to be with multiple people. Okay. So going back to the thoughts, I really want to address this because it's the mind that can take over the thoughts. And there's a story that's happening in the mind that can create a meaning, right? Like, oh, I'm not good enough, or you know, my past lover didn't like this when I did this action, and now you are applying that to all of your lovers in your life. I see that being a common thought process that a lot of people, and when I say a lot of people, I'm including myself here. I am not saying that I have not struggled with this or that I don't need to work on this myself. So I want to express that it is a skill that is developed on a constant basis, at least for me in my life. So it's the thoughts, right? Being in the mind, the story, and the meaning. So how do you get in the body so that you don't have the story? Wanted to drop in, but I can't stay. I appreciate your page. Thank you so much, Dr. Vic for 65 for saying that. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you saying that you appreciate my page. That means a lot to me. So thank you so much for saying that. Okay, so the story, this person wants me to do it slow, right? Because a past lover, you have now a meaning with slow, because a past lover liked slow. Or there's a story that I need to go fast because my past lover wanted me to go fast. Or there's a story that my love partner told me no one time because maybe she was asleep or something like that. And she said no. So she doesn't like me sexually. She doesn't want my cock. She doesn't want me to have sex with her. So that is a story that this person has created and a meaning. So they are now in their mind thinking about their lover that is in front of them, and they are applying that same story to their lover that is in front of them. So they are not being present. They are doing it wrong. So that is wrong. You want to not do that. So how do you get out of thinking so much, right? And being with the person that is in front of you. I'm going to teach you that today. Okay? And the other thing is triggers, right? So like what a trigger can cause somebody to have actually that story in the meaning because something occurred in the past that is still showing up in the thoughts right now. And that is something to become aware of if you are doing that. And it is actually pretty normal for some people if they experience something that was emotionally very upsetting for them and it caused a trigger, right? Or it caused an emotion. Where is my emotion? Or the feeling to exist. And so they're not necessarily being fully in the present moment. So how do you do that, right? Because you can do that immediately with these skills that I'm going to teach you so that you can be present with the person that is in front of you, right? Without coming with a lens of judgment. And that is the teachings of hypnosis that you can use to be present and intimate with this person that is in front of you, so that you can be inside your body without being in your mind. Okay? Because you will have hot sex, massive extended orgasm as well by being in your body. And it's doing this process with the hypnosis, and that is the pace lead, right? To be in your body so that you are showing up and being fully present with the person in front of you or the people. So that you aren't making the assumptions and the rejection in the past isn't showing up, and you're being authentic, right? You're being authentic, and you're also expressing more of what is happening for you. So it's creating a much more intimate experience, no matter what. I think a lot of people sometimes can get so focused on the orgasm, which is great, right? Yes, we want the orgasm. There's no denying that. But how you get to the orgasm, it can change, right? We are human beings who have emotions, we have moods, we have fluctuations, and it's taking into consideration that this person's body is also operating differently than what we may want or like. So I want to say that a dick is not always going to respond the same way every day. For the rest of its life, it may change. Having the expectation about a penis to respond all the time a certain way is a lot of pressure that someone can put on themselves, and a lover can also put on them, not intentionally, but it's going back to the confusion, right? There's a lot of misunderstanding that's out there. So also knowing, another thing is that it's okay to slow down and take your time in the bedroom in the beginning or at different stages, or to speed up, but it's being present with the person that you are in front of, and knowing that speed can change, and it's okay if somebody needs to slow down. It's okay to take a pause. These are things that are okay. And I'm going to teach you how to address these things with your lover when they are happening, so that you aren't, so that you're doing it in a loving way and that is supportive, right? Because that comes back to the pacing and leading in hypnosis, where you're communicating in a supportive way, right? The pace, lead in the bedroom will give you the ability to embody what is happening, the embodiment of hot sex, of presence with the person that you have in front of you. Because what you did in the past does not matter right now. Yes, you have learned some skills, but each person is very different. So I want to tell you a quick story so that you can understand this. My background is working with dogs, and I had a lot of dogs that went off leash in groups of like 10 dogs at a time. And these were dogs that wanted to run a lot. They had a lot of physical energy inside their bodies, and the owners wanted their dogs to go off leash. So the dogs were dogs that liked other dogs, and they wanted to be around other dogs, and they wanted to exercise a lot. So those were the kinds of dogs that were my clients primarily. And each dog was different, even though there were generalizations for certain breeds, right? But that still did not apply to each dog. So some people might say Huskies, they're very hyper, which, yes, I have met a lot of Huskies that are very hyper and have a lot of energy. But I have also met Huskies that are very chill and aloof. They don't want to do a lot of exercise. They are much more mellow. So it is taking the lens of each dog is very unique. Each dog operates differently. So when I was working with the dogs, and you can apply this with every kind of person, I am using dogs here, but in my opinion, there's really no difference. Each dog was so different. It ate on a different schedule. It had a different type of disposition. It liked certain things and it didn't like certain things. I'll give you some examples. Some dogs, they loved to be rubbed, like under their belly. Some dogs loved their ears rubbed. Other dogs hated their ears touched. Some dogs hated their belly rubbed. I did not judge the dogs for their preferences. I adapted with each dog. I honored each dog's preference and I worked with it. And I was grateful to know that this dog preferred to run around off leash, or this dog preferred to be on leash or closer to me. I didn't judge the dog. I just made adjustments on how I showed up, and I worked with each dog with who they are. I didn't put each dog into a box. I looked at every dog as a unique individual. So that is something that people do. And it's not of malicious intent, but it's something to remember. And I hope that this message, comes to your awareness that each person has a preference sexually. And they may not make sense. They might not make logical sense at all. At all. They may be really like, are you serious? You want to have your pinky finger licked on the inside and that turns you on. That someone might judge that person for their preference of having their pinky finger licked on the inside as being weird. But who cares? It's something that person likes. So it doesn't matter. It really does. The only thing that matters is, are you willing to do that for that person? Or can you negotiate and come to an agreement about something else? Because it doesn't mean that you have to do everything that this other person wants sexually, or that their preferences are all sexually made all the time. But when you are having hot sex, it is to consider the other person and yourself, and then coming to the middle of meeting each other's desires, right? And it's removing what you did with the past lover. Say your past lover liked to be fingered with 3 fingers, and your current lover doesn't like to be fingered at all. By judging your current lover or making them wrong for liking that is going to create judgment on the other person, okay? So how do you do that? You can get curious. If you find yourself judging, like, oh, you think that's strange, right? So that might be the thought, or that's bizarre. It's really to ask a question, and keeping your tone neutral is what I recommend. So asking a question, can you tell me more about no fingers for you? I want to pleasure you in the way that you like. So that would be having curiosity if you see yourself with judgment. So now I want to go to the bedroom. Okay, so you're in the bedroom, and this is the embodiment of how to be present with your lover in the bedroom. And this is part of hypnosis teachings, and you can apply this with your lover, and you can do this today if you have the the next available time. It's for you to apply to your life when you would like to make those changes. And that's the pace pace lead in hypnosis. So what is that? What is pace lead? Okay. So I'm going to tell you what pacing is. And the reason why you do the pace lead is because your thoughts will turn off and you will need to get credit. It directs your attention to the person in front of you, to remove the stories, to remove the past, and it gets you into the now, right now. Because the past can influence us. Hello, Tim Sislow Sr. Thank you so much for joining. The past can show up, and I think that is something that can change immediately. So how do you do that? How can you be here and now? What are you doing now to make your sex life better? And that's the pace lead, right? The pace lead. That gets you into the now. James Kuzak, thank you so much for joining. Appreciate you to be here. I saw your name on the live chat. So the pace lead, it gives you trust. It creates expansion in your relationship. And it gives you longer responses from the person that is in front of you. Okay? They give you longer responses. They give you more information when there is trust and expansion. And that is by doing the pace lead. I'm going to go back to that a lot because the pace lead is how you have your structure for clarity. You apply this in your sex life with your lovers. Okay? By doing pace lead. Because it gives you trust. It gives you expansion, your better orgasms, the hot sex, and they give you long response. So what happens though when you're doing it wrong? Okay, so let me tell you when you're doing it right. Okay, so let me tell you when you're doing it right, and then I will tell you when you're doing it wrong. When you are doing it right, you get the longer responses. It creates a dynamic loop of energy and connection between the person that is in front of you, not what you did yesterday with your lover, not what you did with your past lover, not what you want to do 10 years from now. It gets you into your body here right now so that you can have trust and presence. So what is pacing? I have some printouts here from ChatGPT. So pacing is an art. When I think of an art, it means like my artwork is going to be different than your artwork. They're going to be unique. It's like a fingerprint. So the way that you're doing it, it may be different than somebody else's, and that's okay. Pacing gets the mind to stop resisting, to stop thinking. Pacing, it isn't flashy. It's not flashy at all. And it isn't persuasive. It isn't manipulative. It's obvious. It states what is happening. It's like quietly knocking on the door of someone's experience and having it open from the inside. So it's accurately describing what is happening in the external experience and the internal state to help build trust. And I'm going to use the word rapport, an agreement with the other person. So it's not changing anything. You're not changing anything. Actually, it is simply stating what is happening in the reality when you are in the bedroom. You can say something like an external pacing statement would be, "You're in my bed." It is, "You are in my bed. You can hear my voice. You are breathing." They are not super sexy, in my opinion. But they stated what is actually happening, and you are now seeing what is happening with the other person. So you are no longer thinking, you are in your body, and because you are visually seeing, hearing, or feeling something, and you are stating it. So it gets you in your body and it turns off the story. You no longer are thinking of what happened yesterday because you now are in the room with your lover. It isn't super fancy either. So if you want to now do more pacing statements to get into their experience, you could say something like, "You've been wanting to have sex with me for a while now," or "You've been wanting my cock for a while now." That might be true. It might not. Or, "You've been wanting me to kiss you for a while now." Or you could say, "There's a part of you that's curious of what's going to happen next." So those would be some more pacing statements. And you could say another pacing statement of what is happening right now. You could say, "You don't have to do anything. Just notice what's happening." Your body is already beginning to settle. That's another statement you could say. Why is this so important? Because you're turning off your brain. You're getting into your body. You are getting a connection to their body, their mind, their who they are. And it creates a loop with this person, the lover that you are currently with right now. And it creates this person understands me. They get me. I can follow them. I want to follow them. right? Because they're not judging me. Judging the other person can create the disconnect. And I'm not saying that this isn't, like, this is something that I continually work on. But this can, by doing pace lead in your life with your sex, you can dissolve and renew your sex life in a new way, because you will be showing up so differently with your lover, because you will be in your body. You will be also creating that really deep connection with them. And people want to be seen. People want to be heard, and they want to be felt. You're also creating permission. So now the lead, right? So you've done some pacing. A lead would be, you can feel the sensations even more when I rub my fingers in your vagina. You can feel my mouth pressure or sucking even more, and you're more hard when I do that. Okay. So that would be leading. You can also say you can begin to feel my body and more relaxed against yours now. You don't like the word relax, you can choose something else. You can hear me breathing deeper, more. So you would be now doing some more direction, but the pacing is where I would focus on to get into the body. You could do, and it doesn't have to be pace, lead. You could just do a whole bunch of pacing so that you are getting into your body and you are creating a deeper connection with the other person. So that would be, you could say, and the temperature of the mic cut out. Thank you for saying that. Can you hear me now? You can just type that in the chat if you can hear me. Can you hear me? By the way, I really very much, yes, perfectly clear. Okay, awesome. So that would be saying the pacing would be, and you're wearing lingerie today. So you're just stating what you see. And you're playing 9-inch nails say it's a music. So you could say what you hear, or you're playing this music. So you're just stating what is actually happening. And then the feeling, you could say, and you feel this way about your partner, like, or you feel their attention and their time that they're here. So you're just stating what you see, hear, and feel that is in reality, not what you're thinking about, right? Not the past. So the thoughts are not happening. You're stating what's happening in reality, because and that turns off the thoughts. That gets you into the body. You are breathing. Is creating the agreement with the other person. And when you have more agreement, when you have a deeper rapport and you have trust, that is how you get, that is how I am looking for, that is how you get the expansion. That's how you get the expansion, the massive extended orgasm. And it gets you present with this person in front of you. Not your past boyfriend, not your past girlfriend, not your ex-wife, not your ex-husband. So that is a common theme that can show up. So you want to do the pace lead, or just simply pace. Stating what is aware of you that is happening inside your body is going to get you into your body. Stating what you see, stating what you hear, and stating what is feeling. Sound is back. Maybe it was my glitch. I'm reading what Leon wrote. Yeah. So thank you for saying that. I'm unsure of what happened, but I do know that, yeah, I've been connected and it might have been on your end. So the framework of pace, lead gives you clarity, because this person will tell you one way or another if that is correct for them. And I'm going to tell you now the mistakes, right? The mistakes. So how do you know when you've said something or done something that has lost some trust, or there needs to be some more curiosity? How do you know? How do you do that? Right? So that you come back to the trust and the expansion. Because, mistakes are going to happen. I think that's inevitable. We're not always going to say the right thing. So some things that you can see and notice when there's been too much, their eyes will glaze. You've done too much. You need to pull back. You've applied too much pressure on the situation. at this moment in time, and you need to pull back and give them some space or some distance or get curious. And how do you do that? You can say, I noticed that there was silence. That's okay. Can you tell me more? Is everything okay? I'm just curious. Or what happened for you? You don't have to say, is everything okay? You can just say, I noticed there was silence. Do you want to tell me more? Because you don't want to put them, the reason why you don't, the silence is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So it's just stating that there was silence. And it's saying in it, you know, I want to hear if you want to share anything. Because if you're saying to them, well, you're being silent, you're not forthcoming with what you want to say, it can put them, they could feel like they're not enough or what they're doing is not okay. So you can say, what is actually happening? Going back to the pacing, I noticed that you looked away. Say that your partner looked away. I noticed what you looked away. What was happening for you? You can ask that. And you can also say, well, take your time. And then whatever they share, you can say, thank you for letting me know. The other thing is you will get shorter responses from the person. They will give you more one-word answers. And that just means to give maybe some more input from you of what is happening, or share some experience, share about yourself. But those are some of the signs. So the eye glaze, that's too much. Shorter responses, silence. And the thing is, when those are happening, it's coming from the angle of just stating what you've noticed versus making them wrong in any way by what they are doing. Because maybe what they are doing isn't working for you, but if we are coming and judging them by what they're doing or not doing, then they may not want to do more. They may not want to connect more, or they just may need time to process what is happening for them. And I'm not saying that we can't ask for what we want, like, and need, but it is also getting into, when we are in our body and we're not in our head, we are just simply stating what we notice about the other person and what is happening for us. That is how you get more present. And that removes the story and the meaning. Because if we are thinking that their silence means that they don't like us, or their silence means that there's something wrong with the relationship, we can get into our thoughts. right? The thoughts. So that's how you can get into your body, is simply stating, oh, you're naked. Or maybe, I see that you are naked. I noticed that your cock is hard. I noticed that you are wet or you feel wet. So you can say things like that. And that creates the connection of being in the moment with the person that is in front of you sexually. So that you can remove the story and the meaning that you may have about yourself or you may have about other people. And what is sometimes a story? This person wants me to, this person wants me to do this position because maybe your past lover liked you being on top all the time. So now you're applying this story that women want you to be on top when you're having sex. When your lover that you're with, they may not want that. They may prefer to be on top. So by doing the pace lead, by stating what you notice, what is happening, you're creating again that trust and the agreement so that the other person can expand and open up and trust you and talk and share more about themselves. So the mistakes again of like when it's when something is off is when you are thinking about the other person versus being with this person that you're with right now, if that makes sense. And I have made this mistake so many times in my life. So that is primarily why I am speaking to this, because it has been something that I have done so much in my life, but there is a way to not continue doing this and to develop these skills so that you are connected with your lover right now sexually. And sex can have a lot of emotion behind it because there's a lot of misunderstanding, and the movies set a lot of unrealistic expectations. Porn sets a lot of unrealistic expectations as well. I am not saying that what you see in the movies or what is on porn is not possible. It is possible. But in real life, sometimes things take more time to develop. And if we are applying what we see in the movies or what we see on porn or what happened in our past relationships, we aren't being present with the person that is in front of us. And that person can feel it on an unconscious level or subconscious level. Meaning they kind of know what's happening, but it's not being voiced. So by doing the pace lead, you are voicing things that are actually happening in the reality, which is getting you into your body so that you turn off the thoughts and you get into your body. So you can ask yourself, how can I be here right now with this lover? What can I state that is actually happening right now with this person? Do I need to ask a question to check in so that you aren't making assumptions, doing mind reading? That's something that I did a lot. I did a lot of, it's called projecting. It's thinking that something is thinking that this is happening, but it's not actually happening. And so that would mean that you need to get curious and ask questions. And then you would want to give that person the ability to respond. And if they just give you silence, then I would say, I noticed the silence that you just gave. And that's okay. Take your time. So, that will also get you to be listening to the other person by stating what you see, hear, or feel that is happening in the room. Because the thoughts will start to go away and you will be more able to hear what they are saying without an emotion. And the thing is, when you listen, again, it might not make sense. It may not make sense, but going back to the dog story, each person operates so differently and they have different desires and they change. So keeping that in mind, that it isn't also something personal to you. So it's doing the pace lead. And if you need to do the pace 20 times, then that's fine. It gets you into the body. I'm just looking to see if I have any more. And that is how you have more actions, by doing literally the pace lead, or just a bunch of pacing, because you have the trust. So the mistakes would be the person is giving you silence. They are giving you less communication. Hello, James Sidars. If I mispronounce your name, I apologize. You can write it in the chat if you would like. I do want to pronounce names correctly if you would like. Or if you have a different name that you want me to call you, you can tell me that too. I'm happy to do that. So the mistakes are going to happen too. And that's okay. Again, I think everybody has a different processing time on how they are learning and experiencing sex. And you may have thought about the issue for a long time with what is happening, but they may need more time to catch up to where you're at. And that is not an issue or a reflection upon you. It just is that everybody has a different processing time and speed. So the pace lead is going to give you the clarity because you're in the reality stating what is happening. You're at my house, you're breathing, you're moving your hands, you nodded your head. So it is building the trust so that you have the foundation with the person, the agreement and the dynamic loop of energy that is going on. And it gets you into your body. It gets you to be present. I tend to have a lot of thoughts in my mind. Some people do. Some people have a lot more thought in their mind than other people. I had a lot of thought in my mind, or I still do. This is how to turn it off. You can also ask yourself questions of how can I be more connected? And your mind will also give you an answer. What can I do right now in this moment? How can I have more pleasure? So if you see your partner do a head nod, I would say, I see you nodding at what I just said. That person is going to feel seen when you do that. So the mistakes would be like, when have you done too much? They're talking less, they're giving you less information, there's silence, and their eyes glaze. That means it's been too much. They've gotten maybe overstimulated. They are feeling maybe pressure from you. And it's not to say that, that you can't be yourself, but it's also checking in and seeing the other person. So that is going to give you that embodiment. And you can say things, I feel my heart fluttering. That gets you into your body. I feel my armpits sweating right now. I'm sweating more. I'm breathing harder. So it's stating also what's happening for you. And then it gets you to be more connected, because a lot of women, they don't want to tell their partner what is happening a lot of times. They're scared. Or maybe they have tried telling you in their way, but it didn't make sense. So this is going to help you connect with your partner on a more deeper level. This is something you can do. And this will help the communication as well. So you are getting their feedback. You're in your body getting their feedback, and then you can make adjustments. If they're giving you a face that you is like, ugh, that means they're not really liking it, probably. You can say, you scrunched your face. Is there something that I could do differently? Can I touch you here? Is this going to be better? Would you like more pressure? A lot of women want more from their partner. So this is you really connecting to them to see how they are responding to what you do. Some women, they also feel that their partner is really aggressive. So again, then by what you're doing, because you're paying attention to what is actually happening and you're saying it out loud. I noticed that you're no longer showing up in the evenings. Right? You're just stating what's happening. Or I notice that this is happening. Or I notice that when I touch your breast, you want to change positions immediately. So it's stating what's happening. You're noticing this other person, and that's creating a lot more trust in the relationship. So that gives you information about the other person, because ultimately we want the honest communication. Men love honest communication and women love honest communication. Authenticity is extremely sexy. So this is how you get that. It is doing the pacing, right? The pace lead, or just a whole bunch of pacing, stating what's happening so that you are in your body and you're not thinking and you're not judging the other person. Because when we are thinking, we aren't able to be fully present. The more fully present we are, the better orgasms we have. And it starts with this style of communication. And it's clear because you're stating the reality. I see you're wearing sneakers. I notice that you no longer wear heels. I'm wearing a cologne. Can you smell it? You can make it simple too. So it's inviting that sort of connection and being present. And it's simply doing the pace lead. And the thing is, you can apply this in all of your relationships. It doesn't have to be just with sex. And it's a way to be here and now. Because if you've had romantic relationships in the past, it may influence how you show up now. But doing this, pace, lead, that's how you can be here right now in your body. And you get aware of what is happening for you, and you're also creating awareness of what is happening for them. And you're removing all the assumptions. And assumptions are usually part of erectile dysfunction. Not always, but they can be. Do you have questions for me? I do like hearing your thoughts on this. So even if this was something new or not new, I like knowing how you think. This will also improve your technique, because a lot of people need and want to work on their technique, and there is nothing wrong with that, because I developed these skills. I was taught these skills. I didn't have great technique. I had terrible technique. But I learned. And this, by doing the pace lead, you will learn what your partner is responding to as well and what they're not. So what are your thoughts? Okay, so Leon is asking, where again did you find the pace lead info? That is part of hypnosis. That's the beginning of hypnosis teachings. Hypnosis is some call it advanced communication, some call it intimacy communication, because it's a very intimate conversation usually that is happening. So in hypnosis trainings, which I've done a lot of hypnosis trainings, that is the foundation. Pace, lead. I'm going to call it the foundation. So it came from hypnosis trainings. And I think that it is so powerful to use. And it's so understated of like pace, lead. And that is how you create the connection with the other person. Starting with that framework of pace, lead. That's how you deepen it. It's very simple, but it works. And it gives you the clarity that a lot of people are wanting with their love partner. Because I know, from my experience, men want to please their partner most of the time. And if they aren't, then that's something to reflect on. But I have found that a lot of men really desire, they want to know how to please their partner. So this is one way that you can do yourself by changing how you show up in your relationship by pace, pace, lead. Stating what you see, stating what you hear, and what you feel. And you can even state what's happening in your experience as well to give them insight into what is happening for you. Women like to know what's happening for you as well, so that they stop assuming. So it's the hypnosis framework of the beginning of a conversation. So Leon, you did that in the chat. You said something about my hair. That was stating what you saw. And I don't think it's fair either that there isn't clarity, that women want more, they want a bit more intensity in the bedroom. I don't think that's fair either to men, that women aren't saying that, but they don't want to hurt a man's feelings a lot of times, or they don't know how to express it. So this is you helping the sex life, because not everybody is very comfortable with this. It can be very awkward for a lot of women and a lot of men. So it's not that they're intentionally not telling you, they just don't know how to really do it. So this is creating that intimate ability to have an understanding of what's going on with the person that you are there with right now. And then some women find that a lot of men are too aggressive. So it's like, where do we get into the middle? And that is doing this. It will get you into your body and turning off the thoughts. And you can say anything that you see. Your nipples are hard when I touch you here. I notice that your dick is harder now when I rubbed your inner thigh. So you're also creating the awareness for the other person that when this happened, that happened. They can also say, oh no, it's when you kissed me. You can do it in, is that correct? So if they correct you, that isn't a sign of necessarily a mistake, but it's to acknowledge that you may have assumed something. So is there any other questions? I really value your teachings. I want to absorb the information and share with my lover to help her feel more comfortable. Yeah, I think that is awesome. Sharing the teachings is fantastic. I would ask if she would like it. I would just ask. That's what I would recommend. I would ask, but you know your lover the best. But yes, share them. I would say, this really impacted me. Can I share this with you? Would you like it? And here it is easy. Or it's something how I can have better sex or better relationship with you because I love you and that's what I want, but I don't really know how. But you know your lover the best, so trust how you want to bring that to them. That is just a suggestion. Please feel free to leave it if it is not applicable for you. And again, if you know your lover and you think it's cool to just share it, go for it. You are in your relationship. I'm not. Because some people ask me things and I like that they asked me. And then some people, they don't ask me and they just give it to me. And I'm okay that they gave it to me. But maybe I wouldn't be okay with everything that they give to me. So that's just something to consider. Trust your intuition with that relationship, of that specific relationship. That's all. Because you don't always, sometimes we don't need to ask. The person wants to receive it and it's okay. But it's just yeah. Use your judgment, and the relationship that you have each relationship I find operates very differently, each person. So that's why I say trust your intuition on how you think this person might or might not, right? I do recommend sharing it to people that read the room, act accordingly. Yeah, yes. And when in doubt, ask. I'm just saying, read the room, act accordingly. That's what Leon said. Is there any other questions? Like, did anything come up for you all about how maybe in your life you've been doing some of these things? Like, I've done these things a lot. I do not say that I have not had to work on this, because I have. I also want to say that you can take these steps and apply them today, right now. The past is in the past, and this will move and change immediately how you show up in the relationship. You can't control your partner and how they show up, but you can show up differently and make changes in how you show up. That is something you can do. And you can do that with these learnings and these skills. Because I don't think that, if we've struggled in our life or had any experiences in the past that didn't go well, they can impact us, but they don't have to right now. Immediately, you can learn these skills and apply it in your here and now with consistency. And that creates the transformation, it creates the connection. And this will deepen the connection, or it will restore the connection. I do think this will be very useful for anyone who is in their head if they are in the bedroom. I very much value everyone here on the live and listening and showing up. It's great to have these interactions and these discussions because it is creating awareness around sex and intimacy and relationships. So I'm going to stay on the live for another 3 more minutes because I know it can be, because it's chat. So I just want to give some extra time if someone has something to say. Or if you didn't like this, I would love to know. Again, this is very much a take it or leave it. I do know that this will help with the embodiment and getting out of the head, focusing on the person who you are currently with. And please, if you want to email me any messages of topics that you would like, Leon, I really appreciate our conversation. It was very helpful for me. So I value that, and I do my best to also speak to some of these topics in a different way. I saw a heart emoji. At almost 66, I have had many relationships, some great, some painful. I want to make, hold on, let me see this. Or my, there was a little box that was blocking some of what you wrote. At almost 66, I can see it now. I have had many relationships, some great, some painful. I want to make the future better by learning as much as I can from you and similar teachers. Thank you again, Samantha. You are so welcome. I think that, so there's a couple, when it comes to teachers, right? So I have connected with a lot of, so when I'm working on, so I just want to speak to that and share with how when I'm learning something, I learn from sometimes multiple people, multiple teachers. I don't always, I think having someone who I like, I learn easier from. And also, one thing that has shown up for me with teachers is that this is just their perspective. And I also think, Leon, like, you're 66 and learning and developing skills is part of life. And it shows. So when someone is taking responsibility and developing their skills, that is a trait that that you possess. So finding other people who also value change and self-development, I think, is a great thing, because not everybody values that. Not everybody can embrace change as easily. So that's something that's a strength that you have, in my opinion, to take responsibility, develop skills. And when we're in a relationship, it's not saying that necessarily the other person is completely incorrect or doing something incorrectly. Sometimes it might be saying that I needed to not do this relationship because this was something I couldn't do, I can't do, I don't want to do. And that gives the other person a lot more agency to support and find what they need in their life. So sometimes it might be also learning that, like learning that I don't like this, or that I do like this and I want to work on this. I can improve this. So I think that's the beauty of learning about sex, is also, I don't actually jive with this person. Or maybe I did jive with them at this time and now I don't. But I know, Leon, like, you have a lot of wisdom. I've been talking to you. You're extremely aware about a lot of things. You know people very well. So I look forward to our connection in knowing where you even take this and how it goes. Not easy. Leon's writing, not easy, but if it's important enough, you'll find the time and way to do it. And I see I've been making those mistakes for many years. The mistakes have the learning, though, in it. So it's like, what did you learn? Because I have made a ton of mistakes, but it's like, now what did I learn? But it's very humble for you to say that. I think also, I recognize that you are putting in the time here. I think something to consider when you bring up time is, for some people, they feel like they are putting in effort and they are doing a lot, but the other person doesn't recognize that they are. And I think that that can also give you a lot of clarity about what you can do and what they can do as well. TYVM. Thank you, VM. What does that mean? Oh, I went over on what I would say, but I'm enjoying the conversation. What does TYVM mean? Oh, thank you very much. You taught me a new one. I love it. I love the 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 abbreviations. I don't know them all, so I'm still learning them. So thank you for teaching me one. I am going to sign off now. I hope that this was valuable and this was a structure that you could apply to your sex life so that you are turning off the thoughts, being with the person that you are having sex with, or the people. I'll use plural. And I hope this gives you some clarity on what to also focus on to be in the body, in your body, and connect to the other person of their body, like to be in the here and now. Because for me, that was so hard. Yes, I understood be here in the here and now, but how do you do it? So I hope that this has been helpful to apply to your sex life. And I know that if we are consistently doing something with practice, it becomes easier and more of a habit. And then it's just like done naturally. So I look forward to hearing from you of how this landed. So feel free to message me at any time what you didn't like or what you did like, or what, if you need more clarity on something, I am happy to support as well. My name is Samantha Kindheart. I am with the Language of Orgasm, and it is about sex skills because sex was never taught. All right, enjoy the rest of your day and joyful day to you, or evening, or wherever you're at. Bye for now.